Welcome to CME. It's midday of day 3 at Messe. My name is Jordan Rudess, and I'm happy to be here at CME, home of my large picture here. I couldn't just walk by and not stop and play. Actually, we had arranged for me to be here, so I'm here. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a little bit about what we've got going on here. We have the world's lightest real keyboard here. It's something, it's called the X Key. It's something I travel around the world with. There's a 2-octave version over there, and this is the 3-octave version, which is the X Key 37. And this goes in my suitcase, that one goes in my flight bag, and nowadays I don't ever have to be without my instruments. And what's really cool is that I also have the iPad with me, and the X Key plugs directly into the iPad. So without any electrical cables or anything, you're able to get some very great sounds. And the sound source for today's demo will be the sound of an app that I made, which is called Jordan Tron. And those of you who have an iPad can check it out. And I love the combination of the X Key and the Jordan Tron, simply because I can have my huge sounds that I use live in a very, very small package. So I can be like, get a lot of glory going just out of having tiny little iPad and a tiny little keyboard. The other day I was on the plane, I was playing this sound. I had the X Key on my lap and some good headphones on, and I must have been making some kind of like ecstatic face while I was playing. The stewardess tapped me and says, "What are you doing?" And I had to explain to her that I was basically in this musical kind of glory in heaven. So the idea behind what we're doing here is we're very serious about mobile music. We feel that the industry is really changing and more things are becoming possible in a mobile world. And you can tell, if I can sit here on a tiny keyboard, no electricity, and basically make the sound of the largest organ of the planet Earth, then things are definitely changing. And things are changing a lot here at CME because we're really interested in this kind of thing. And for me to play on something that's a small keyboard, it's not very expensive. So my first thought was, okay, well, let me just check it out before I commit to it and get involved. And I'll do I'm like a human piano key tester because of my background, having studied for many years to be a classical pianist at Juilliard. The companies are now hiring me to test their keyboards instead of the machines. That's not true, but I can keep on telling you stuff if you guys are going to believe it. Anyway, but actually for my own purposes, I do check out the keyboards. And so the first thing I did when I got my X Key is I called up a sound that was very fast attack and responsive, and I do my little repeated notes thing and it really, really works. Matter of fact, it's as fast as any keyboard that I'd want to play, and it's accurate too. So when I'm playing on it, I feel like it really tracks my fingers. I can do all my... So it's really there for me, which is an amazing, amazing thing. And even if I'm anywhere and trying to play whatever kind of sound, we have the controls on the keyboard that will allow me to do that. Like one of the sounds I put into Jordantron, which again is the sound source for all this, is this lead sound. That's fun. So to explain what's going on, the reason I can do this kind of lead here is, first of all, I've got the sonics of it happening in the iPad, right? This is like one of my main lead sounds that I happen to put inside Jordantron, for those of you who have iPads and want to play around with it. So, and also as part of the sound, you can even use the dial, or you can use Aftertouch to kind of get a feedback tone. Little grit, which is pretty cool. But the X Key has a panel of buttons on the side of it. And the buttons do this. The top buttons are doing octaves, so if I want to do like, and use the buttons to move myself throughout the range, I can. But that's cheating, right? I didn't go to Juilliard all those years to do that. But it's still a lot of fun. And it saves me energy. If I feel like this was smiling and everyone, I can just hit the buttons and then that's all good. There's also a modulation button, which you know, can be sent. You can send a controller out if you want to just do fake LFO. I like to use the pitch bend buttons to kind of. And you can set the pitch bend range for, you know, what you want on your sound module. But in general, to get like half steps, I can play. So depending on where you press the button, you can kind of control how much range. But I find them very functional. I can do all my. A quick tap of the button will do that kind of shaking sound that I like. I guess I could use this to play my Dream Theater leads in the new album, probably. Maybe I'll put 3 of them together, which actually is a very interesting point that my friend told me. I didn't think of this, I should have thought of it. You know, these are so small. I mean, these are probably the thinnest real-size keyboards that are around. And you can basically plug like 2 or 3 of them or 4 of them into one iPad. So you could like extend the range and just put the octave in different keys and make, you know, like a full-size keyboard, which is really, really cool. I was doing that before. It's not what I'm doing right now, but you can do that with a USB hub, which is a very cool idea. Right now what I'm doing is I have one X Key going into this top iPad and the other X Key, which is down here, going into the iPad over here, just so I can have my other sound. And this other sound I'm using is a pretty cool sound, and it's kind of courtesy of a guitar player that I know. His name is John Petrucci. He's a very good guitar player, he's got a good tone. Happens to be the guitar player in my band, which is Dream Theater, in case you are unfamiliar. How many people have never heard of Dream Theater? Be honest. Raise your hand. You've never heard of Dream Theater. All of you have heard of Dream Theater? Oh my God, that's pretty good. Awesome, well thank you. Anyway, so sometimes John will be around the studio and he'll be jamming or whatever, and I'll say, hey man, like I really like that sound, that's a great sound. Can I borrow that sound? And he's generally pretty good about it. he'll allow me to capture it with whatever technology I need to capture it with. And actually, this sound that we're hearing right now is a combination of my synthesizer. This part is just the keyboard sounds. It's kind of like a vocal sound with a very powerful analog thing happening. But when I blend that with the Petrucci fifth, it's just the John Petrucci sound. Now let's put them together. Then you start really having something. You start adding some of the big kind of Jordan-y sounds along with that. With the mixture of the Petrucci fifth and also the analog thing with the choir, you get something that's pretty big. Those are actually the finely freed bells in there, which is cool. So you mix it all together. Some of you out there were asking me about my rig. I like to change my rig up a lot with Dream Theater. I'm thinking about having 2 levels of X keys all around me. One lower level and one higher level, and having them spin around. You guys think that's a good idea? Should I do that? Would that be cool? Come on! I think it would be pretty cool. I'm seriously thinking about it. It's awesome. I mean, I put my cool sounds in the iPad, so anything could happen. So let me tell you a little bit more about this keyboard. First of all, for those of you who are just joining us, these keyboards are the X keys. There's a 2-octave, 24-note keyboard there. There's the X Key 37 here. I use them both. The small one fits into my flight bag. The large one fits into my suitcase. And I basically never leave home without them because they're great. And if you're a keyboard player out there, you cannot leave this area without buying an X Key. Actually, you can't, but you shouldn't, because they're excellent, and you'll be very happy. You'll be writing me thank you letters on the web and saying how much you love the X Key. It really is very cool. One of the things that's really cool, can I have the little breakout cable? Yeah. Again, so CME and my friends over here are very interested and really innovative with mobile technology. One of the things that they've done is they've created this little breakout cable. It looks pretty simple, but it really solved a major issue in the keyboard world. For many years I've been involved with keyboard companies, and we always think about, okay, we want to put a certain number of outputs for the pedals on the keyboard. But there's always a problem there. It's always like, oh, we don't want to spend the money, we don't have the room to put expression, sustain, standard MIDI, I want to have another pedal to change the rotary speaker. There's always a limitation to how many pedals you can really connect because of price or space, right? But this little cable, out of one jack coming out of this side of the X Key 37, you can have these 3 connections, and one of them is a sustain pedal, one of them is an expression pedal, and the other one will do standard MIDI. So if you want to connect the X Key to some standard piece of equipment that you have, it's really easy to do. This is one cable. And the other side is the cable that actually just connects to the iPad or to a computer itself. So it's pretty straight ahead. It's, thank you. It's at this point, the system is really dialed in, and you can make a lot of music no matter where you go, and that's what this is about. Also, the X Key comes with some really, really great software. Like, it's fun to play all the notes. And I enjoy having the keys actually be notes instead of something else, because they can be something else. Instead of playing all these actual musical notes, each key on your X Key, if you're really into this kind of thing, could actually send out a controller. So if I wanted to, instead of having my pitch bend be on, or my modulation be on these buttons, you can have the X Key keys assigned to any controller as well. which there's some people who want to do that. But basically the X Key is kind of like you plug it into the iPad or the computer, you call up Jordantron, hopefully you will, and play some of my cool sounds, and it's immediate. But if you want to go into the software, you may say, you know what, I have a really heavy touch, like I'm banging on this thing, and you want a different response, you can go in and basically draw your own curves as well. If you're pressing into it, you know, you feel like the pressure is a little bit, you know, something that you want to tweak. There's people who are tweakers, they have to get in there and get their hands dirty. So you can go into the software and do that. And if at some point you feel like, you know what, I've tweaked everything, it's way out of control, I want to get back to the original sounds, it's easy to do that as well. So that's a little Mac, PC, and iOS application called X Key Plus. So yeah, there's a lot of really great things going on. And the best thing here is, look at this picture. Look at what my friends did. They put this really beautiful, can I have this from my home? You think my wife will like it? I hope so. I don't know, what do you guys think? I'll bring this home. I'm already taking over the house. I've got my studio outside. I've got my studio, which used to be the living room. I think I'm going to be kicked. Does anybody have an extra room in their house? Because she's going to kick me out pretty soon. I have too many keyboards. Luckily, the keyboards are getting smaller, so she won't be so upset. Anyway, I'll leave you with a little bit of music. Thank you so much for joining us here, and I'll hang around after the demo too in case you have any questions for me or from my staff here at CME. And please make sure to try the X Key because it's really, really awesome and you're going to like it a lot. So here we go.